here on h1. Okay, well, here I play the move b6 because I have a little bit of time and I didn't want my opponent to push his queenside pawns up the board so easily. So he moves his rook back to d1, and still in this position to h1 would be better. But here I capture on g3, my opponent recaptures with the king, and rook f4 is imminent. There's no other option anymore. Here the knight has to move, and it has only one square to keep protecting the pawn on c4. So he moves it back to d2, and as highlighted here, there are two moves which are both great for black. Rook to d4 or bishop to b4, just trying to get the defender off the c4 pawn, and black is doing fine here. My preferred move here personally, and that's a personal choice, is bishop to b4, just trying to remove his knight and get an additional pawn, a second pawn, and then easily win the game. Well, my opponent did notice that, so he did want to keep his knight on the board. So after knight to f3, rook captures on c4. Here he played a6, and now I retreat my bishop back to d6, and actually black is very comfortable in this position. White is two pawns down and doesn't really have a fighting chance, I believe. It's very hard to just pick up even one pawn and not lose another. So after my opponent here moves the knight back to e1, I play a5, just getting my pawns rolling on the queen side now. So king to f3, b4, b5, king to e3, and b4. Just exchanging off one pair of pawns. After a takes b4 and rook takes b4. And here I've highlighted a lot, as you can see. This is all just about promoting a pawn. In the near future there will probably be a trade of rooks, and after that my pawns will all head for a black square to promote, which is of course ideal since I have the dark squared bishop. Okay, from here on the game just takes another couple of moves, though not the easiest moves of all. My opponent here plays knight to d3, I play rook to d4, rook to g1, captures on d5, captures on g7, king to b7. Now it's time to get my king active. So my opponent moves his rook to g4, king to b6, rook to c4 and c5. And now all of my pawns are already on the 5th rank. They all just need four additional moves to become a queen. So let's see how I proceed from here on. Opponent plays b3, rook to d4, knight to b2, king to b5, a very crucial move for just getting that little bit of extra space. Rook to c1, and bishop to e7 is just an annoying move, of course, for bishop to g5, getting the king in a check, and of course the rook on c1. My opponent noticed this, of course, and he plays rook to b1, but still I play bishop to g5 check. Opponent moves to e2, rook to d2 check, king to e1, and here there is a very great move. I wonder if you can spot it. I'll give you about 10 seconds. Okay, the move played here is king to b4. And now you can ask yourself, why is this a great move? Can't white, for example, play knight to c4, attacking both the e and the a pawn? So what's the difficulty here? Well, after knight to c4, which was played, black now can play rook to h2 and threaten another time to win the rook, this time on b2 or b1. Well, my opponent was sure in this position that he would lose his rook, so he at least wanted to get mine. So he played rook to d1, and after rook to h1 check, king to e2, rook captures on d1, king captures on d1, and here again, in this position, still both pawns are attacked by the knight here on c4. So how to proceed from here on? Well, also here again is a great move to play, and this is endgame theory, but you all should know and find this move. So I'll give you another 10 seconds. Okay, as easy as it seems, the move is pawn to a4. Of course, white cannot capture the pawn on a4, for there white would lose its knight on c4. So white here captures the pawn on e5, and here again is also the choice: should black capture the pawn on b3 with the king, or the pawn on a4? Well, also as highlighted, it's all about the squares where black can promote to a queen. Both moves are great actually. So in this case it doesn't matter that much, but my preference is always try to promote on the square that's the color of your bishop. So I have a dark squared bishop, so I prefer in this case to capture with the king. Okay, now it's a clear 2 pawns up. My opponent actually can't win unless I make a lot of mistakes, helping my opponent to mate myself. So my opponent here is just trying to stop my pawns. For there, if he wins just another pawn, he has a very good chance of just drawing the game, which wasn't my intention. So he plays knight to d3, attacking the pawn on c5. I defend the pawn with bishop to e3. And the nice thing to notice is that the white king just can't get closer to the promotion squares, at least the promotion square a1. So the only choice white actually has to stop the pawns from going on is with the knight. My opponent here made his final mistake, which is king to e2, attacking my bishop, because this just allows the move c4 and white can surrender, which he does. I hope you all enjoyed this game, and till next time. Thank you.